For many, Terminator 2 can be considered one of the greatest action movies of all time. Midway anticipated the movie's success and jumped at the chance to cash in before it was released in theaters. Using new trends in arcade gaming, Midway gave players a first-person taste at the war against Skynet. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Arcade Economy, the series where we dive into arcade classics to determine just how much they would have cost to beat at the time of their release. In my last episode, we took a look at Konami's Aliens, the arcade game. Today, we're continuing the trend of James Cameron adapted games and traveling to the future to take on the machines in 1991's Terminator 2. Was the cost of saving humanity from Skynet too high for your wallet?
Well, that's what we're gonna find out.
In 1984, The Terminator became a surprise hit in theaters, confirming Arnold Schwarzenegger's status as a lead actor and establishing James Cameron's career as a mainstream director. So when the sequel was put into production in the early 90s, an arcade game would be developed in tandem with the film. Midway was signed on to develop the game. They weren't confident they would be able to deliver the game in time for the movie's theatrical release, so instead they launched it on the same day as the movie's home video release. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Edward Furlong, and Robert Patrick all reprised their roles in the game, with Schwarzenegger and Furlong even recording extra voice lines.
Nice shot.
Extra footage for the game was shot alongside production of the movie. Midway used the digitation process to bring real-life footage and images to life in the arcade. While the process wasn't anything new, it was becoming increasingly popular at the time. Midway would then go on to pioneer this throughout the 90s with future hits like Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam. The first Terminator game to ever release was The Terminator, released on DOS in 1991, and would kick off a number of home computer Terminator releases throughout the 90s developed by Bethesda. The T2 arcade game would shortly follow after the DOS release and would get ported to the SNES, Genesis, and Game Boy. 1992 would see a side-scrolling game adaptation of The Terminator and an 8-bit version of Terminator 2 with no relation to the arcade ports. 1993 saw a 16-bit version of Terminator 2 released, as well as RoboCop vs. Terminator, a match made in robot heaven. For the arcade scene, Terminator would go on to make one more appearance with 2010's Terminator Salvation, published by Raw Thrills. The T2 arcade game was a huge hit, and not just in the arcade, but on home console ports as well. And as the quality of the Terminator films decreased over time, so did the quality of Terminator games. The Terminator games franchise would continue to churn out games after the 16-bit generation, but hit a serious low, with a large number of releases receiving mixed to outright poor reviews. The Terminator 2 arcade game does an incredible job of following the storyline from the movie, if you can make it that far into the game. The first half of the game acts as a prologue to the movie and takes place in 2029 during the future war between the humans and the machines. Players will have to fend off attacks from the machines, protect John Connor, and travel to Skynet's base of operations to send the T-800 back in time to 1995 when the movie takes place. The game picks up at the part of the movie where Sarah, John, and the T-800 launch their assault on Cyberdyne Systems, the very company responsible for creating Skynet. The game is played from the first-person perspective, and players take control of Arnold's character, the T-800 machine programmed to protect John and Sarah Connor. And if you're playing with two players, I just like to think of each player taking control of one of Arnold's arms. Makes sense to me, anyway. Your main weapon is a machine gun that fires automatically as long as you're holding down the trigger. For a little extra kick, a button on the side lets you launch powerful missiles in the future segments, or fire a shotgun blast in the 90s missions. While your main gun does have unlimited ammo, and you never need to reload, there is a power gauge that depletes as you fire, and if you let it overheat, your rate of fire slows to a crawl. You have to be strategic, firing in short, controlled bursts to keep the gauge charged. Each level is littered with pickups throughout, which include ammo for your secondary weapons, coolant to prevent your gun from overheating, shields, and even nukes that clear the screen of all enemies.
Hasta la vista, baby.
At the end of most stages, you're scored on your performance, getting points for all the enemies you've destroyed, and points taken away from human casualties. Your mission kicks off in the grim, skull-filled future of 2029. For the first 4 stages, you'll battle across a war-torn field, protect a refugee hideout from relentless Terminator attacks, and then hop in a pickup truck for a high-speed chase against hunter-killer aircraft. Your ultimate goal is to invade Skynet's central facility, destroy its main computer, and use the time displacement device to travel back to the 90s. Once you're back in the past, your first stop is the Cyberdyne Research Lab. If you manage to destroy every piece of equipment in here, the game rewards you with a massive point bonus, and you'll receive the good ending, if you manage to make it to the end of the game. After that, you'll have to fend off the T-1000's relentless pursuit in a police chopper and a tanker truck, all leading to the iconic showdown in the steel mill. Almost all of the 90s levels are impressively movie accurate. That is until you get to the steel mill and you're fighting off the entire night shift. A classic case of 90s game design logic. When in doubt, just add more guys with guns. Now, throughout this journey, the game has a particularly spicy mechanic. In the key action sequences like the truck, the helicopter and tanker chase, or the steel mill, you are tasked with keeping John Connor safe. So if he dies, the game slaps you with not only a massive health penalty, but you'll also need to replay that level from the beginning. It's a brutal game mechanic, and I get it. It was designed to keep these levels as tense as possible, trying to emulate the movie. But it's also increasingly frustrating, because these levels are anything but easy. For the game's boss battles, some levels did have bosses, and some entire levels felt like boss battles themselves. At the end of the first level, you'll have to face off against a ground hunter-killer, use any missiles you have to take out the 2 arm guns on the side, then focus on the top and make your way down. I'm considering the truck level a boss fight because of how insanely hard it is. This is level 3, and you'll have to protect John Connor as he drives a truck into Skynet's main base of operations. Flying hunter-killers will shoot missiles at the truck while gold Terminators awkwardly run alongside and shoot you. If the truck gets destroyed, you'll fail the mission and have to start the level over again. This means your top priority is protecting the truck. When playing this level, I was mainly aiming at the hunter-killers and the missiles they were launching. If you have 2 players, you can probably have one person aim for the flying enemies while the other one takes out the ground. But because I was playing by myself, I pretty much ignored the ground Terminators and just took the damage and loss of lives. You'll get bonus points if you can complete the level without the truck taking damage, which I don't really see being possible. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that most people never pass this level in the arcade, and to be honest, it gets unsurprisingly even harder from here on out. The next level is Skynet's base, and this one's a real doozy. At the level's end, you'll have to take on Skynet's security measures, a wall full of missile launchers, and endless enemies coming at you. Again, probably impossible to do this without losing a life, but the best method would be to take out the 4 corners of the door first. I hope you saved up some missiles because you're going to need them. The game treats you to a little bit of respite once you get to the Cyberdyne Systems level. It's definitely still tough, but at least it's not the truck or the Skynet security system, or what comes afterwards. The next level is similar to the truck, but harder. Sarah and John Connor have escaped Cyberdyne in a SWAT vehicle van, and the T-1000 is in hot pursuit. You'll have to fend off the T-1000 as he attempts to attack the van in a helicopter. One hit from the helicopter, and the van will be destroyed, and you'll lose, having to start from the beginning of the level. Here was my first reaction to this. What the hell? With 2 players, I think this would be easier because one person could keep their aim above the van while the other remains behind. But as one player, it was really hard. Oh my god! Best bet is to keep your aim diagonally over the van and immediately fire at the helicopter as soon as it comes into frame. I thought the sequence was over after this, but it's not. Hey! We did it! Oh, what the f***? After the helicopter is destroyed, the T-1000 comes back with a vengeance in an 18-wheeler. You'll need to fire at this immediately as it comes into frame, and then take your finger off the trigger as he exits frame, allowing your gun to recharge. Otherwise, if he's able to ram the SWAT van 4 times, it'll be destroyed and send you back to the helicopter part, much to your chagrin. You're kidding me. You are kidding me. You're almost done, but the game does not let up in any way. The next battle is against the T-1000 in front of the liquid nitrogen tanker. I hope you've collected a bunch of shotgun ammo because you're going to need it in the next couple of fights. You'll notice a temperature gauge for the T-1000 here. You'll need to blast the tanker behind the T-1000 with your shotgun blast to deplete the temperature gauge. It's honestly not too hard, but just a small sample of what's to come. Your best bet is to try and collect the falling shotgun ammo to stock up for the next fight. And then there's the final fight, and in my opinion, possibly the hardest arcade boss of all time. Shotgun ammo is the only thing that can hurt or stall the T-1000 in this fight. And if you don't have enough, you're going to lose. It's just that simple. The T-1000 will attempt to attack John Connor, and you'll need to stop him by hitting him with a few shotgun blasts. After this, he'll get up close and personal. Hit him with some more shotgun blasts until his head splits in half. From here, he'll be placed in the center of the ramp. Hit him with several more shotgun blasts to push him towards the edge of the platform. Once there, a grenade launcher will quickly fall from the ceiling. You'll have to be fast and shoot the grenade launcher to obtain it, and then immediately blast the T-1000 while he's at the edge of the platform. This requires precise timing, and if you hesitate just a little bit, the T-1000 will move forward and you'll miss your chance and have to start the entire pattern over again. There's a lot of factors that go into defeating the T-1000 in this fight. For one, you need shotgun ammo, and if you run out, there's really nothing you can do to prevent him from killing John. Also, the timing for shooting the grenade launcher, obtaining it, and then shooting the T-1000 is really hard to get down. You also have to hit him like square in the chest, and I missed him completely or hit him on a different body part, and he would just fall down and I'd have to start the pattern over again. This boss fight was just relentless. Now to answer the question, how much did I spend to beat Terminator 2, the arcade game? For these games, I played them on emulator and set up a counter to increase every time I hit the insert coin button. I played these games on their default settings, so for Terminator 2, this was medium difficulty and 25 cents per play. Yes, I realize that this game was probably 50 cents per play, so I will get to that. I know in the 90s, when I saw this in the arcade games, it was almost always set to 50 cents, but the game does default to 25. For this game, I have a confession to make. Mass Replay community, this game was the one. The game that broke me. I am very ashamed to say that I did not beat Terminator 2. I know, just hear me out. Normally I would play these games until I just beat them. It doesn't matter the time, play them in multiple sessions. It took me 4+ hours to beat Contra and 5+ hours to beat Dragon's Lair. For Terminator 2, I got to the point where I was ready to do that. I played T2 for 2 hours. It took me almost an hour to get to the steel mill part, which means I played the steel mill part for over an hour, which means in the steel mill, I would play until I would run out of shotgun ammo, and then John Connor would die, and I'd play the level over again. Over and over and over again for a full hour. Now, I would have kept going, but I did have to drop off for a live stream, and the thought of going back to this game to play the entire thing over again, to get to this part that I just could not get the timing down and pass, it just did not seem appealing to me. And remember, I'm also playing this game with a Sinden light gun and not a mounted Uzi, so that may have had an effect too, or maybe I'm just really ass at rail shooters. Time will tell on that one. But every time I got the grenade launcher, I would either be too slow or I guess hit the T-1000 in the wrong spot. There were plenty of times where I thought I had hit him and beat the game, only for him to just continue to move forward and continue his relentless attack on me and John. It got to the point that when I was starting the level over, I wouldn't even attack the T-1000, I would just shoot the shotgun ammo that's raining down to collect shotgun ammo. And sometimes I'd go into that final fight with 300 rounds of shotgun ammo and still not be able to defeat him.
I know now why you cry.
It just felt next to impossible to me. I will give you the stats and the amount of money I spent to get here, so I'm sorry, I've failed you in this Mass Replay community. When I did finally call it quits, I had spent $23.50 on 50-cent plays. That would factor out to $47. Adjusted for inflation and $23.50 would feel like $56.40 in today's money, and $47 in 1991 would feel like $112.80 in today's money. Someone in my comments, and I apologize, I forget who you were, had mentioned that I shouldn't just feature the amount in dollars that I had spent, but also the amount in credits. So this would be 94 credits. So 1 initial credit and 93 continues. Total cost per minute factors out to 21 cents. For the boss totals, I spent 50 cents or 2 continues on the ground hunter killer, $1.75 or 7 continues on the truck level, 75 cents or 3 continues on the Skynet security system, $2.75 or 11 continues on the helicopter tanker chase, and $14 or 56 continues on the final steel mill stage. This brings my boss total to $19.75, meaning I only spent $3.75 on continues outside of boss battles. And now, it's time to determine just how predatory this game was in stealing your money. Look, I don't think I need to tell you where this is going to end up, but for statistical purposes, let's figure it out. Total cost was pretty high, especially adjusted for inflation, and for cost per minute, it's one of the highest we've seen thus far. For unfair game advantages, yeah, this game is extremely unfair. I suspected that this game has unavoidable damage, and I had to look it up on a TAS, which stands for Tool Assisted Speedrun. It's basically a bot playing the game. And yes, it was confirmed that this game does have unavoidable damage. I will link to that video in my description. Also, there is input reading in this game. I noticed several times when facing off against the T-1000 in the final level, when I placed my crosshairs over his face to shoot him with a shotgun blast, he would immediately move to the other side. I'd go to the other side and he'd do the exact same thing. It happened so many times and I wasted shotgun ammo just trying to hit him. The game has plenty of punitive game mechanics. The whole keep John Connor safe thing or replay the entire level is really unfair. And it's also really unfair to have to fend off the T-1000 from hitting the van on one hit. For the one more try appeal, yeah, this game looks great and it sounds great. And also, when this game was released in 1991, rail shooters were becoming more popular, so it had that appeal there too. I think probably what turned most people off from this game was when they got to the truck level. Just because of how hard it was, I think that's where you probably see the drop off for most people. For overall enjoyment, yeah, this game is fun until it isn't. And for me, that came around the truck level, around all the chase missions, and definitely in the final boss when it just became rage-inducing. So with all of that considered, Terminator 2 the arcade game gets an unsurprising Predatory game score of a 10 out of 10.
Terminated.
Now, can you play this game today? Unfortunately, unless you find it in the wild or emulate it, you'll be out of luck. But there is a chance for this to come up on some type of Terminator collection in the future. For those of you looking for a new retro-inspired take on Terminator 2, I suggest checking out Terminator 2D No Fate. At the time of this video's release, it was announced that this game would be coming in mid-2025, and it looks pretty awesome. I'll leave a link in my description for those of you who want to check this out. Next time on Arcade Economy, I'm heading back to the beat-em-up genre as we dive into Capcom's Final Fight. This channel has grown into such an amazing community, and I am grateful for all of your support. If you would like to further support the channel, you can do so through YouTube memberships or Patreon. You'll also get some cool perks in return, plus you'll see me struggle through these hard games in real time on my Arcade Economy live streams. But honestly, just you watching this video right now is a huge help, so thank you. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what games I should take a look into next, and hopefully you'll see me on my next video. Thank you.